Hello, my name is Zach. I'm here with the Fun Robotics Network, and today with me is Team 2556 RadioActive Roaches here at the Rock City Regional in Huntsville, Alabama. Here they're going to be talking about their pneumatic wheel swerve, allowing them to easily cross the bump, their intake that can easily fix itself when getting warped, as well as their custom pathing system. Let's learn more on Behind the Bumpers. All right, so let's first want to get into your pneumatic swerve. Where did the idea come from and how's it been working?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the season, we saw that there was the bump that was going to be terrain. It was going to inhibit our motion. So we wanted to really excel at going over that so we could play around defense. And the way we came up with that is using these custom machined pneumatic tire rims. So we have a Haas mini mill at our facility, the NERF, the Niagara Education Robotics facility. So we were able to mill out this rim and some custom swerve spacers, fork spacers, as well as the drive shaft. And this allows us, we cannot get high centered on the bump, so we can go over it as slow as need be to pick up balls on the other side, to not beach ourselves or whatnot. In addition to this, if we do get beached on 2 or 3 balls, these big tires allow us to unbeach ourselves pretty much the entire time. We've only been completely beached twice in this entire season.
That's amazing. And could you go more into what does the between matches look like for your pneumatic wheels? I'm sure there's some extra stuff you have to do with them.
Yeah, so we found that they usually last about a day's worth of competition. So like at the end of quals yesterday, we went ahead and swapped out the tires because they were getting pretty bald. That's the biggest downside with them. But it's really not too hard, and you just pump them up with air, and we keep the valve stem right behind the bevel gear so that there's no chance for it. Yeah, so the bevel gear will go here. You can see it on the reel module, and that protects our valve stem from getting caught in something and cut off. We'd had that issue in previous iterations.
Before we get to our next segment, we'd like to thank the following. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs and their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first. It isn't too late to order competition apparel for your team at FRC Tees. Founded by First alumni and offering a free 14-day turnaround with expedited options available, go to frctees.com to see why hundreds of teams are making FRC Tees their first choice for their apparel needs. That's frctees.com.
Amazing. And now shifting over to your intake, a lot of your matches, I can see you sometimes hit that trench wall and you get a little stuck like that, but you always seem to correct it. How does that work?
So our trench works on 2 different motors. They're 2 different minions running independently. They're not on a connected axle. This allows us for one side to go up while the other stays down. And using multiple linkages, we're able to have this wonky intake like this. And then we're able to quickly go down as they're still on separate motors and they're controlled independently. For the actual intake part of it, we use catch tongue rollers, which really just grip onto the balls and help just suck them in. And then use it and it just goes up. We have instead of teams that bring their intake in and out, we kind of leave our intake out for the most of the match, and we just oscillate these rollers to get the final ball stuck in here into the Spindexer and to shoot.
Awesome. And I know catch tongue grip tape can sometimes get a little worn down. How much do you have to replace that? Because I know that can sometimes be a longer fix.
So what we do is we actually wrap it in 2 layers of catch tongue, so when one starts to run away, we can just almost peel off the other one, and that really helps. If it comes off, if it gets scratched off, we aren't just on a bare Lexan tubing. We can actually have another piece of catch tongue tape under it to help intake balls.
Amazing. And if we could shift a little bit towards the center of your robot, I see you have a Spindexer, it looks like. So how does that system work, and how does that feed into your launcher?
Yeah, so this Spindexer here, we're running these Omni wheels. We had a Mecanum at first, but these have better traction. And we also have what we call the Carrot. This is driven off a bevel gear off our transfer motor. Oh, I can show you. And what both of these do is both of these are trying to kick the balls upwards instead of suck them in. So whenever we've had jams where a ball, like 2 or 3, will get stuck against the wall and create an arch shape. And then if one comes down and hits this Spindexer topper, it'll fling the ball upwards and break the jam is the idea. The same goes for these green star wheels and sushi rollers. And this has really helped us to keep our feeding consistent throughout matches. Yeah.
Also, another thing I see about with y'all's robot is you have a side launcher. How has that helped y'all with intaking and shooting on the move?
So it's helped us because we can run a counterclockwise cycle while intaking. And this means coming from the right trench, we can come and shoot until the tower is about here. And if we're on the left side, we can shoot until the trench is about here. And to talk more about our shoot on the move, I'll hand it back to Tree.
So we run shoot on the move very simply. Because we're a fixed shooter, we have to rotate the entire body, but because we're a swerve, we can still drive normally. So we just do a simple rotation using 2 limelight ports or odometry to rotate for the shooter to look at a specific target. And for our shoot on the move, it's really simple. After tuning our shooter hood and RPM to be at the right RPM at any distance for a nice shot, we found that the flight time is always around 1.15 seconds. So our shoot on the move, we just take the robot's wheel's velocity, how fast they're spinning, multiply that by 1.15 seconds, and just do the opposite shift to the tower. So if we're moving left, the target's gonna go right. And that's really been successful in matches. It's been a very accurate shooter and shoot on the move.
It's amazing. And something I heard is y'all have a custom pathing software. Could y'all speak more on that?
So with our custom pathing software, we decided to use it because we were going to use Path Planner, but Path Planner, the path to pose buttons, which is go to a pose and then follow a path, it's really slow because we're using Python and it uses A-star pathfinding, which is a lot of work. So instead we made our own custom path planning, which is just point to point. And this works really well because there's only 3 specific places on the field, both the line zones and the neutral zone. So you know, if you're in a zone, you know exactly which point to go to.
I know Python is a bit of a newer thing you can use. How has that helped y'all team learn? Has it helped y'all learn faster? Why Python over Java or other software?
So we originally made this shift last year so that when other teams begin to switching to Python, we will have the resources to help other teams. And what I found is there's actually a growing ecosystem of software to use. It's been really nice. I found ports of the Limelight helpers, and then just some teams were from really nice, like Advantage Kit was ported into PyKit, which was nice. We used that for a little bit, and then we just went to basic logging because it was a little bit more than we needed. But I find Python has really helped new members just get into Robot really fast. I feel like it's really just grown the team. More members are going to programming, and they're actually sticking to Python as opposed to coming and trying to program. It's in Java and then just leaving because they just aren't sure what to do.
Yeah. Can we get a little demo of your system overall? And while you're setting this up, could you explain a little bit about how's just your entire subsystems? How have you been able to go through each design cycle to find what you wanted to end with?
Yeah, so TV's not going. We have some slides that did show this. We tried to think of what we thought would be necessary and worth it for this game. Like, we decided not to do a turret, but instead do the side shooter because we get similar performance, not quite as good, but with considerably less mechanical complexity and faster development time. And we made a full protobot. We had a prototype of the intake and the shooter. With the shooter, we found we could simplify the transfer a lot more. And that we really just prototyped everything and tried to make sure we were on the right tack as we went.
Awesome. Yeah, could you show that demo?
Yep.
Our intake just goes down. And then we have 2 different modes. So when the intake goes down, we have 2 different controls as driver 2. For most of the match, I'm just holding it to bring balls in. But occasionally when we're up to, because we have expandable net, we can pick up lots of balls. So what we do is we pick up 70 balls, and then we actually reverse the intake to kind of feed through the trenches and just kind of create a backpile for us to shoot later. So when we run the roller, they pop up in there. Then we run the Spindexer and the transfer. Okay, so for the oscillation, well, I don't have a button. So when we're shooting, we have 1 button to shoot. It does everything. It rotates to a line, it moves the hood at the right, spins up the shooter, and runs the transfer and runs everything. Want to put your hand over so it doesn't shoot. So. it won't actually shoot because it waits to shoot until the shoot RPMs at this speed, and we're also looking at the shot. It's not gonna shoot if we know we're gonna miss.
Thank you so much, 2556. This was an awesome interview. Hope people were able to learn a little bit from your two-motor intake design, your pneumatic wheels that just are really cool to be able to get over that bump incredibly quickly, and also your side launcher that can be tied with your custom pathing software that I'm sure will really help set that new style when Python comes with some of the main software points in the next seasons. Thank you so much. Let's learn more on the next time on Behind the Bumpers.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. It isn't too late to order competition apparel for your team at FRC Tees. Founded by FIRST alumni and offering a free 14-day turnaround with expedited options available, go to frctees.com to see why hundreds of teams are making FRC Tees their first choice for their apparel needs. That's frctees.com. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs and their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first.